Morning guys, so unfortunately we're a man down today, but it shouldn't be a major issue. The electrician is here, so he's going to get the sockets on there for me. He's got some island stuff to do as well. No sign of the ovens yet. We've got the hinges for the door, so they can now be sorted out and we can put the plinth on, but that's basically all we can get done in here today, because again we're waiting for doors. So this morning we're going to jump in this utility room and try and get it finished today. As you know, this is where we got to last night, so we just got to secure that cabinet to there, batten that across there, and a little batten there, a decal panel in the middle. There should be a decal panel there, and there, but there's just not enough space. We're already tight up against that wall. These are standalone appliances, so we're just going to have a batten, decal panel, and a little batten, and then have to just slide them in. So the plinth will only come to the end of the cabinet. We've got a notch out, so the plinth will be continuous. Throw some wall units up, the filler panel, doors, and then we've got this side to deal with. Get them on the wall hung. Extra cost some spare feet for these, so they will go on. And then there's an oak worktop. Now I'm thinking of doing something a bit different in here. I might 45 the worktop and have it come down the side as well, so let's say it actually looks like a bench with these underneath. That's my thinking. I think that'll look really nice, and we should have enough materials for that. But doing it on a building site to try and get that finish, it might be a bit tricky, but because it's solid oak, we'll be able to sand it, round it, a bit of wood filler if we needed. And ideally a workshop would be the place to do that. My workshop at home would be ideal, but it is what it is. But anyway, let's get stuck in and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so let's get stuck into this utility room. So the first thing I just did there was mark out the centre of the wall, allowing for the decal panel. Ricky's cut a bit of batten to allow for our first first appliance, sorry. I'm then going to use that as a guide to scribe in the decal panel. Now I had to scribe the back of this panel in, that's why I'm in and out so many times with it, because I had to keep scribing the floor and scribing the wall to it. But once I was done there, I just levelled it across, marked the top and bottom, then I cut it to height. Now I'm going to go and mark the side of it and scribe the back of it, so that sits back, because the wall kicks in at the bottom, as they do on some of these new builds and these extension works. But once that's done, I can then fix a screw into the side of that, into the batten, and Ricky's going to put an L bracket at the bottom on the wall, so it's braced and keeps it plumb. Now we start working this one out, and Ricky puts this batten in, and it suddenly dawns on me there's not enough bloody room. So I'm umming and ahhing. I put this bridge in, and then this is where I come across and start realising this is going to be a problem. So I'm measuring it all out, then I realise that's what I'm umming and ahhing about. I'm like, oh, how am I going to deal with this? And I come up with the plan. Basically, I haven't allowed for skirting, so we're going to take that decal panel out. We have to move the 900 unit over so it's tight to the larder unit, and then we're going to put that panel back in so it sits on top of the 900 unit. It's not ideal, but that is gained me an extra 18 mil, and then I've got to refix everything back in place, and then we can put a little bit of timber or a bit of decal panel down that right hand side, which the skirting can then butt up against, and the appliance can still be put in and pulled out without any issues. It was a bit of a nightmare. Unfortunately, when the designer did these second measure, they hadn't dot and dabbed or boarded the wall where the door is. So when he had the chat with them, and he was on about how much tolerance should he allow, he recommended 40 mil, but they suggested no, 20 mil will be fine, because he marked it all out on the wall where everything was going to go, and they said 20 mil will be fine, and obviously it wasn't. They haven't allowed him enough tolerance. So once it was all finished and I've come in to do my job, I'm then having to deal with the aftermath. And without any more mucking about and changing units again and changing the 900 to an 800 to give me an extra 100 mil tolerance, which would have worked perfectly, would have given me a nice infill. But with all the other problems we've had with this kitchen, it was just a matter now of just getting it in and getting it done. So now I'm cutting out for the undermount sink, which is a ceramic sink. So as you can see, I've cut out the top half, and I've notched the main centre support, and I'm now building a timber frame that the sink will sit on, because I like my sink to be really well supported, and this is a ceramic undermount sink and surface mount sink, so it's not light, so my supports have to be really strong, and I'm a bit stressed out at this point, and I've mismeasured, so I have to take it all apart again, add a new bit of timber at the back, and then rebuild it. But we got there in the end. This is where I'm having to redo it, and I'm cutting out now for the overflow. So now that I'm done that, I can put some nice little blue infills in, and that's that done. Okay guys, so this is turning into a bit of a ball ache, this bloody utility room. But we are getting there. We had to make some changes this morning. Now, as you may remember, that was all fitted yesterday. This was all fitted. So today we've done this, but when we were measuring this out, see, I've got just over 600 there, just over 600 there. I've got pipes down there which don't help me. I've got to allow for a skirting to go across there. And we didn't have the space. We were going to put a batten on the wall and sail that across without that piece. Then I realised you've got to have skirting. So what I've had to do, I've had to cut this decor panel out, sail this unit in another 18mm, so this door line will continue through. It's not ideal, but when they came and done the second measure, this wasn't finished, and they told the designer to allow for 20mm. Now 20mm obviously wasn't enough, because it needed at least 40mm, because there should have been a decor panel there, a decor panel there, and then one there, one there. Obviously we can't put one there because we won't get the appliance in. So I've squeezed it up as much as I can. It is going to cause me an issue. My wall units aren't going to be perfectly aligned. Nothing I can do about that. It's not the end of the world, because I will get them in still without all the decor panels that these have had to have to separate them. But we're just getting the sink in now. Hold on, Ricky, it's just we drop that in. So we've made a timber frame. We're just going to literally drop the sink in like so. It's a nice snug fit. So we've made a nice timber frame. It's supported there, supported there. It's supported across the front. We've notched it out so it's also supported there. And then we've cut some blue decor panel and put them in the front like that. So when you open it up, it all hides that old timber. So now the sink's in, the waste overflows in, the plumber can do his bit, the tap's going to have to go down the back of the hole there, there's no option. So it's going to be what it's going to be now. I can't bring that any further forward than I already have. So I'm going to throw that on top of here now, and we're going to get the wall units up. I don't know. That's the bane of my life, these things, but here we go. Never mind, we've got to get on. See you soon. Okay, so now we've got through that problem. We've thrown a bit of work, bit of old decor panel down on the units to protect them. And I'm going to start hanging these wall units. Now I've levelled across from the top of the larder unit, measured down 40mm to the top of bracket, and then marked my screw holes. And then I can level and fit the units. As you can see, they've had to put packers behind the wall unit to keep it square. And doing them sideways allows me to get the next unit roughly in the right place. Just takes out any bows in the wall. Make sure they're level, make sure they're plumb, screw them together. There is one more unit to be fitted, but we don't have that on site yet. Okay, so utility room's looking like a utility room now. So we've got 2 wall units on the wall. We haven't got that one, so that's got to be sorted out. I've spoken to the designer at Howdens, he's going to get that organised. Stonework top on there, 2 appliances. We can put the shelf and the doors in there. They can all have shelf and doors on. That'll be that done. That plinth can go on with a bit of veneer on the edge, because obviously we can't put a decor in now. I'm just laying out the bench now. I've got my level line on the wall for me brackets. I now need to start working out how square that wall is, and exactly how long it is and everything else, and whether my idea was going to work or whether I'm just going to come and have the return there. I think that might be the better bet, with a little decor panel at that end. It all depends on what I've got space wise. So I'm going to figure that bit out now, and then we can get that done, get the workbench on, get the drawers in, get the plinth on, and that's in here pretty much done. All bar handles, which we can get done today as well. I've got the appliances can go in now as well next door, so I want to get this done,
get back in there, get the appliances in, doors on, get all the doors tweaked, and then I'll see how we're doing for time and go from there. See you soon.
Right, let's crack back on. So I'm just measuring out now, trying to work out if I could do my plan, but it's not going to work. So I'm going to level this little base unit, get that fixed into the wall. I've allowed 18 mil, but only like 100 mil of it on the right hand side of that. Ricky's going to throw all the shelves in while I level this up, and then we can then measure across for the next unit. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have enough feet to do the middle unit, so I've had to do the right hand unit, then the left hand unit, using the middle unit as a spacer. Then I can drill. Now, these are plasterboard walls, and I'm using a Fisher fixing specially designed for plasterboard. So I'm using my level here to hold my middle unit in place, and then I can make sure it's all flush and plumb and level, and everything will be looking lovely.
Okay, so the bench units are now in. So they're all in, screwed and leveled. Now originally I had this really nice idea of bringing the oak up, across and down, but as you can see there's just no room. So it's going to have to be another blue decal panel and then just a standard oak worktop and then the plinth inside. Not a lot I can do about it, unfortunately. It is what it is. I'm not going to start trying to make a detail around the attic because it's just going to look silly making the attic shrink. So that's going to work perfectly as it is. So let's get that decal panel on, and then we can cut the worktop to the right width, which is going to be basically reveal width. And then we scribe that corner in, sit it in, and then that's it, job done on that. That's done. The drawer fronts can go in, door knobs can go on.
Okay, time for the oak worktop. I'm just going to throw these doors on quick just to get them out of the way because I don't like leaving them on the floor. Now this wall was pretty square. It was only just out by about 5 mil on that right hand side, so I was able to measure the longest length and measure my width. And while I'm not being seen, I'm off cutting it. I'm just double checking my measurements. Don't want to cut it wrong. It's an expensive bit of butcher block worktop. And then once I've got it cut, I'll bring it back in, and then I will use my pencil to scribe that right hand side and then run the plane down it, and happy day, she's in. And then fix it from the underside, and we're all singing and dancing. Decal panel on the left, and Ricky will fit the plinth underneath.
Okay, utility room is done by 2 doors, a wall unit, and obviously the door for that wall unit. Our little bench is now done. So our bench is done. We've just got to throw handles on that. A plinth there and a plinth there, which we're going to get done today, and then that's in here pretty much done. This is, I reckon, is quite a nice little height, I think. It works for me anyway. But yeah, this is the mess we have to work in. So we're just going to clear out of here now, give it a good tidy. All the doors need tweaking still, but I'm not worried about that right now. Another unit in there, as I said. But yeah, we're getting there. So I'm now going to go back in the kitchen, now the Sparky's bin, and I can now install the 2 fridges, or the fridge and the freezer. Now hardwired them. He's dropped that one in, but that's on a plug, so we can plug that in, slide that in. They're already handed, which is handy, no pun intended. So freezer on the left, fridge on the right. Get those in, get them in the right positions, get the doors on. Once those doors are on, we can then work on the handles and knobs on those areas and all here. We found those doors, even though that unit's got to come back out, we've just thrown the doors on. So the only doors we're missing in here are those 2. Because we've got all the other doors. Obviously the island's done. So it's not bad going, it's only 11:15, so, but we've also got to cut some bloody sockets into the sides of the breakfast bar I forgot about. We've got to carefully cut that in there and another one at that end, which is going to be a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you, because we're going to undermine this fixing point here. It is what it is, so that's another job I've got to do. Now you can use a router to do that, make a jig and use a router to router that out, which would make life a bit easier. But I haven't got time to fuck about, sorry, pardon the French. Anyway, I'm going to get on, guys. I'll see you in a bit. I'm getting stressed. Bye-bye.
Okay, so dishwasher time. Now, I've not fitted this particular style of dishwasher before, and the feet on these things are always a pain to get started because they're really tight wound in. But once you get there, it's just a matter of winding the feet down and using a 10mm socket to wind the back foot down. Now on this one you have to remove little cover plates on the side of the door. That gives you access to some little fixings that you use to secure the door in place. And then you have to use a little template. You have to measure centre of door. I had to measure down. And then you use the template to pre-drill your door. And then you screw your little fixings to the door. And then that will then be set to your door. Now, because I have the bridging piece across the door, sorry, across the dishwasher, which helps support the worktop, I had to readjust them by 5mm. It wasn't quite high enough. Not the end of the world. These things happen. But once the door was on, I was able to finish a leveling and aligning the dishwasher. Obviously, I fitted the handle using my handle jig. And then I had to make a few adjustments to the cabinet next door. But once that was all done, I was happy days. I'm just going to finish it off now. That's where I'm shooting at to get the handle jig. And I'm just screwing the door on now. Doing my final tweaks. I have to adjust the butler sink just a little bit, just to make sure it all sits flush. This is the problem with these islands, because they're not secured to a wall. It's very hard to get them exactly in line. So there's always going to be a little bit of tweaking and some fine adjustments when you start throwing all the doors on, just to make sure everything lines up nice and neat. But yeah, once I've done this, I will then make a start on the sockets on the end of the island. Now, to do these sockets, all I've done is I've marked down using me sliding square 5cm or 50mm in the area where the electrician told me to put them. I've then screwed the back box to that line, and then I've actually used that back box screwed to the cabinet as a guide for my multi-tool, and I've done that at both ends. It helps me give a nice clean straight line and a nice finish without damaging the decor panels.
Okay guys, so I'm feeling like crap for some reason. I've got a stuffy head. Dave's not well, he's been ill all day, so that's caused us an issue as well. Anyway, dishwasher is now done. So dishwasher's done, all lined up, handle is on. Ricky's just throwing on the plinth to make sure it fits. We've had to cut sockets out for the sparky. I didn't know I didn't know it was down to us to do, but apparently it is. So that's done. One that end and one that side. So we've done that. So we're now going to prioritise trying to get these on and in and up and done. If I can get that done, then get the doors on, and then I can line all the doors up pretty much. And then we've got the plinth to do for the two doors there, which is an easy job. But yeah, so that's where we're at now. We're just going to get that done. Today's been a bit of a slog. We're here on our own. It's a building site. Stuff's not finished everywhere. It's just, I don't know how builders do it. I really don't. But anyway, let's get stuck in. See you in a bit.
So next job, get these integrated appliances in. Now, I'm not a fan of these appliances. I prefer the ones where you hang the doors to the cabinet. So much easier when you're hanging the doors to the cabinet, because you can get the doors in absolutely the perfect place. You can get them joined and there's no issues. But with these particular units, you actually have to hang the doors on the appliance. There's a little bracket on the top of the door, and then loads of side brackets that go down the side of the door that are all secured to the door. So what you got to do is you've got to get the machine in, got to get it plumb level and in the right place, which is not as easy as it sounds. Then once you're happy, you then got to look at your doors, and then you've got to put your door handles on. And as you're going to see in a minute, I'm using the island as a sort of work surface so that I can put the doors on and get them lined up and get the little joining brackets. So you get in Howdens, you get like a little 40mm joining bracket that screws on the top of the door and on the bottom door. It's not the best design, but it is only designed to be a spacer to give you the correct spacing. I had to have a chat with the builder in regards to the LVT, because they've just informed me that they are going to be latexing this floor and hardboarding or plyboarding the floor in the hallway outside. So to me that was a bit like, well, why didn't you do that before we fitted the kitchen and lay the floor if it's glued down LVT? But it is an extension, and there is a certain drying time in the screed, so you can't go straight on top of a new screed with a latex until it's got a certain damp reading. So here I am, I've joined these doors together now, and me and Ricky are just going to hold them up together, carry them around and hang it on the fridge, and then make the final adjustments, try and get it lined up. Now these are an absolute pain to get lined up, and it took a long time to do each one. Actually installing the appliances is really quick. It takes just as long to hang the doors, because you can't just go screwing them on and hope for the best. You have to get them level, all the doors plumb with the other doors, before you even consider screwing anything to the actual doors. And I've still got some fine tweaking to do. But we got there in the end, and then we made a start on the freezer. Now you would think that these freezers, fridge and freezer, being the exact same brand, and obviously sister, they actually designed to go together. You'd think the brackets and all the fittings would be exactly the same, but you'd be wrong. So there's me thinking, oh yeah, I could just repeat the same process, and I got the instructions out, opened the fittings pack, and it was completely different. So I had to spend another 10-15 minutes checking the instructions and just making sure I was securing them right. You'd think with the amount of these I've done over the years, I'd know exactly how they do this, but to be honest, they change the way these are done all the bloody time. So never take anything for granted when you're doing this sort of stuff. Make sure you always read the instructions so that you don't come unstuck. But here I am again, as you can see, still plodding away, trying to get the doors and that all fitted. So now we're going to get this door on. We've got to spend, it takes me ages to try and get these lined up. And like I said, eventually I just lost all hope and just said, you know, enough's enough. They're close enough. They're not hitting. The lines aren't quite perfect. A few minor tweaks on Monday, and these doors will be absolutely spot on. And we'll just have a good old tidy up, which is what Ricky's doing. And then I'm just going to call it a day, because I just can't do it anymore. My brain's fried and I want to go home. It's Friday. So I hope you enjoyed the videos, guys, and we will see you on Monday.
How you doing, guys? So I forgot to do an end of day video, but as you can see from the time lapse, we got all the fridge to freezer in, the doors on. I've got to do some final tweaking on it, but it was the end of the day. I was sneezing, had a bit of a dicky tummy, and with all the stress I'd had to deal with today and all the problems we've had to overcome, I just sort of lost my, I lost patience with it, if you like. So they're 99% now. I've just got to do a final tweak on the alignment side. We're going to go back Monday. I've picked up all the doors apart from one cabinet and one door. So that'll come Monday with the two ovens, and then hopefully we can get it all finished and I can get paid what's owed on it. There's only a little bit left on it. I've took a massive drawer just to left some on just till we finish. Got to pay the bills. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, share, follow, hit that notification icon, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you Monday morning. Bye bye.